Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. I have close to 18 plus years of experience working in multiple MNSEs around the globe and having in-depth knowledge of DevOps, SRE and DevSecOps. So I would like to introduce you one certification program in a DevOps, and that is we call it DevOps Certified Professional. Now this is a 2 months of program, 25 tools of DevOps you will learn, and apart from that you will also get the access to the LMS, lifetime access to the videos portal. It's a certification program, and you will have 25 assignments and 2 projects along with it. It's a completely weekend program, so here you have classes on Saturday and Sunday. So as part of this course, you will learn multiple things. Here you see that you will learn Linux, AWS, Docker, Jira, Confluence, Python, Git with GitHub, SonarQube, Maven, Gradle, Packer, Artifactory, Selenium, JMeter, Ansible, Kubernetes, Helm, Terraform, Jenkins, Datadog, Splunk, and Neuralink. Now, how do we, apply for this? So how can you reach out to us? So you have a WhatsApp number and email ID, so please reach out to us and we'll help you to onboard this program. Apart from this DevOps certified professional programs, we are offering other certifications as well in a DevSecOps, SRE, and one of the very comprehensive programs which we have is in Master in DevOps Engineering. Yeah, so feel free to get in touch with us and then enroll for it. Thank you. So we are going to learn Kubernetes now. Again, these sessions will continue till tomorrow because large session actually, large topic. So what is Kubernetes? So Kubernetes is born in Google. Yeah, it is a Google's product. It was Google product and donated to CNCF in 2014 as part, and it's become open source. Now this tool is written in Gogolang and the source code you can find on the GitHub, websites kubernetes.io, Slack channels and meetups group. Now the DNA of the Kubernetes is matching with the Bog and Omega. And now what is Bog and Omega? So Bog and Omega is a kind of tools on which Google's is running all of their services. So mind it, they are also running in a container, and then they are using Bog and Omega, and DNA is matching because something Kubernetes can do the something similar. Short name is KATES. So yes, born in Google, donated to CNCF in 2014, open source. Apache 2.0 license. First release has happened in July 2015, and so on. So now next question is why Kubernetes? Why do we need a Kubernetes? So there is a challenges which we have is containers bring scalability challenge. So container means Docker container, the one which I've taught you. So they have, so everyone loves container. Okay, everyone loves container and they are running application in a container. But when you run the container at the large scale in a data center, then we started getting lots of challenges. So that problem is solved by Kubernetes. So if you look at this image here, this is the Docker architecture. Docker manager, container, image, and all stuff like that. Docker client send the command to Docker server, Docker host, and registry and all. So you are comfortable with it. I'm assuming you have practiced Docker. Now this is the problem. So when you want to scale the Docker container in a data center at the large scale, that is where the problem is coming. So see here, Docker manage the container. But if you want to run multiple containers, so what you need to do? You need to run in a multiple host. Now the question is who would manage multiple Docker hosts, because Docker cannot manage another host. So that is one problem. So in a data center, you want to run lots of container. You cannot run everything in one host. You have to run in a multiple host. And for running a multiple host, you need a tool also which can manage the multiple host. That is a problem. Now, Docker has one more problem, and that is called how can we access the container from outside? So let's say if you have two containers in each host, in a one host, and same kind of container, let's say Apache. So both the containers you cannot expose at the same port. You can expose a different port. That is the limitation with the Docker. So because of this limitation, load balancer also is not working. And so the problem is with the Docker, when you want to run at the large scale, you cannot load balance the containers running in the same port in the one host. So that problem should be solved also. One
Can
of
you
the
repeat
other
that one
problems
more?
which,
Can you repeat that problem one more time, Rajesh? The previous.
so let's say look at this host 4, okay? And host 4 you have alpha 5 and alpha 6 similar container. If you want to access that from outside, you have to expose the different port. And in this case, because you have exposed the different port, load balancer will not work, because load balancers to work, you need a different IP, same port. But the situation is here different. Here you have a same IP, a different port. So the question is how to load balance multiple containers running with the same port in one host. So
Okay.
that problem should be solved. Third major problem is, let's say you are running a data center, your applications. In order to maintain the traffic, you are running 15 containers at a time in 5 nodes. Suddenly 2 nodes is down. Reason it could be anything. Because of that, you have a downtime. So how do we add the more containers if the desire is not there? So how we need 15 containers at a time, at any time for that traffic, but 2 nodes is down. How do you auto heal this? So 2 node is equal to 6 containers we want immediately. How do we heal it? So this kind of features, and apart from many other problems which Docker cannot solve it, and that is where the Kubernetes will help you. So typically we say Kubernetes is an orchestration tool for container orchestration tool. Okay, so this is something which we have. Now Kubernetes we have will give you one more advantage, and that is, like, Kubernetes will make sure that your desire is maintained. So for example, when we are learning Kubernetes, main objective to run thousands of containers in cluster. If some containers are not working, Kubernetes will replace with the new container to make sure that actual number of containers must match with the desired number of containers. So that is the work will be done by Kubernetes. You just say, hey, I want you to run Kubernetes. I want you to run thousands of containers just running, and that will be that will be taken care by Kubernetes, not you. So your job is minimized here. So what is a Kubernetes? So Kubernetes is a container orchestration. Kubernetes is also, container orchestration means you want to run the container at the large scale. So you need a Kubernetes. You also wants to know, we want to do the management, like which node, which container should run and all. This work you want to outsource. So Kubernetes can do that for you. Kubernetes also helps you to networking infrastructure, abstractions and all. And Kubernetes will also manage your desired state. Let's say you want to run 10 containers, 10 containers will be running. Kubernetes has a self-healing capability, automated rollback, auto scaling, load balancing, free load balancing. You have it for the containers pod. Some of the benefits, yes, speed of deployment. You can, means thousands of container you want to deploy within a 1 second. You can do that. Ability to observe changes quickly. That means you want to patch something, some changes of your application. So thousands of container you can patch it within a second. You want to roll back within a second, and all the complexity is hidden in the cluster. Not only orchestration for the container, Kubernetes can help you for a storage orchestration also, secret management, secret and configuration management also, automatic bin packing also, self-healing capability also you have it. So many functionality you have it. So which makes the Kubernetes is a platform for running the data center and deploying application in container. So nowadays, I don't remember there's one project or one company who's not using Kubernetes actually. So if you have not studied this, that means you are late actually. So you need to master in Docker and then Kubernetes as soon as possible. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? All of you?
Do we have certification on this both, Rajesh? Docker.
Yeah, we have two certifications, CK and CKAD, development and administrations. So that is also there.
If you do Kubernetes and you don't need to do Docker, or like you need both, just to understand.
No, you need to have a both.
Okay.
Okay, so now next question you have how Kubernetes works. Okay, so now let's understand Kubernetes architecture. So in the Kubernetes, you have a Kubernetes cluster. Cluster will consist of multiple different nodes, worker node and master node. If if you see that you have a certain worker node and we have a master node, and then master node is getting a package from outside, that is from you. Okay, so here master node is a basically managing the cluster, and worker node is really running the container of your applications. So worker node which is doing the work, and master node which is running your cluster. You instruct the master do the rest of the taking care of it. Okay, so if you look at this here, node you have a pod, and inside a pod you have a container. So container which you understood from the Docker itself. But what is a pod? So in Kubernetes, we deploy the container in a pod. Okay, so that is specifications. We don't deploy directly a container, we deploy in the pod. Okay, we'll discuss a little bit more about the pod later on in the time. But here we deploy the container in the pod, and you see that here we have 4 pod, each one of this node you have it, and that is how it is. So first kind of server is master server. We also call it a control plane. Okay, control plane in documents, you may see either master or control plane. It's up to, I mean, both are same. Okay, so now if you see that here, master node manages the lots of worker node. Master node has to be in a Linux, any variant, 64-bit. Worker node can be in Linux and Windows also. Windows started also supporting from 2019 version of Windows onwards. So how can you create a master node? So in order to create a master node, you need to install the 4 software. Which are the four software? I'll discuss about this. You can have a multiple master also, multiple master node for HA, high availability and all. You can have it. So you look at this image here, master node, which is 4 software installed, and master node manages a node. Okay. If you see that node, you have a pod, and inside a pod you have a 2 containers or single containers also. So that's a container image. So here what I'm trying to say here is master node manages a node. Node may have a single pod or multiple pod, and each pod you may have a single container or multiple container. Simple. Okay. So remember that in a Kubernetes we deploy the container in a pod. So now let's focus on this 4 software which you have to configure it in order to make master. So the first one is API server.
Rajesh, one more thing. Like you said, like master node will have multiple. Sorry, master container will have multiple nodes. Or what? Can you repeat that?
I said master node will manage the multiple worker node.
Okay.
Each worker node you may have a multiple pod,
Okay.
and each pod you may have a single or multiple containers.
Okay. Pod will have the containers.
Yeah. Here you have one container each pod. Here you have multiple container. Here you have a 2 pod. Here you have a single pod, like that.
Yeah. Okay. And inside the master, you said like there are 4 softwares, right? That's. Can you repeat that one?
These are the 1, 2, 3, 4. That is what we are discussing right now.
Okay. Thanks.
So which are the software? So right now this software is API server. Okay, this is the first software. So you can say it's like a entry point. It's like a gateway, entry point and gateway to the cluster. Means any communication from the outside and inside, it has to travel through API server only. There's no other way around. Only API server. So this is, we call it API server. You can request API server through the JSON format and so on. Second one is storage. See, every clusters or any kind of applications, if you want the data to be persistent, you have to have a storage. Some database has to be used, right? It can be any kind of database. So here the database they are using is etcd. So now I have heard about MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, Prometheus, and many other tools actually. What is etcd? So etcd is a kind of database which is storing the value in a key and value format, and it's a distributed, and it is maintained by CNCF only. Yeah, same CNCF is the same organization who has developed the Kubernetes. So same organization. So CNCF have multiple product actually. You should, in fact, Prometheus is from them, etcd from them, Kubernetes from them, Jaguar is from them. So many products we have there. Just look at their website. Okay, so this is the storage. Now this is the controller manager. Controller manager is kind of monitoring entire cluster and updating to the API server. Look at the arrow sign. Everyone is talking to API server, and API server only update to the cluster store, which is etcd. Okay, so controller manager, which is a kind of monitoring mechanism in the cluster, and which will keep reporting about the health of the cluster to the API server, and it always runs in the loop. And the fourth software which we have is scheduler. Basically, scheduler is basically schedule the work to the worker node. So based on the instruction from the API server, scheduler schedule the work to the schedule the work to the worker node, and then schedule the pod, and inside the pod you have a container. So these are the four software you need to configure it in order to make the master. Now don't worry about the configuration complexity because it's all are one commands only. But you need to remember that these are the four software. Altogether, this is called master. Okay, so now if you look at this architecture here you have worker server, and then if you see that very carefully downside, that's your laptop. And the laptop, which utility you have? kubectl. So kubectl is a utility. You can make a API call to API server, and the request you can put it in a JSON and YAML. If you are putting in the YAML, it will be converted in a JSON format and sent to API server. So in your laptop, you need to have a kubectl for that. You need to configure the kubectl for that. And then worker node, you will have a pods and all, and architecture I'll discuss in some time. So guys, are you understanding this master components, all of you? Master node, all of you?
This kubectl will be in your local machine, Rajesh, or like just to understand the master will be in the server, right? And the kubectl will be in your laptop, or like you said.
uh, kubectl will be in a laptop, and the master server will be somewhere else, which will be having four software, and then worker will have a certain software which I meant to talk about.
Okay, so the command you issue is through the kubectl. Is that correct?
Yeah, to API server.
And you get the output is JSON.
No, you send it to in a JSON format.
Okay,
That
JSON.
file, the request file should be in a JSON format. It can be in
Okay,
YAML also, but internally YAML also can be converted into JSON while sending the request to API server.
understood. Format. Thanks.
So now let's focus on the nodes, worker nodes. Sometimes you call it a nodes, worker nodes, Kubernetes worker, minions, multiple names are there. So the question is, what are the software needed for the worker node to be installed so it will behave like a worker? So worker node is the real the container your container will be running with. So the first component is kubelet. This kubelet has to run in the each worker node. So this will become a part of the cluster. Kubelet is a kind of agent you can see. So kubelet has to run it has to be running all the time, and register node with the cluster and the port number on which it's running on 10255. Kubelet is just utility. It's running in the daemon mode. Okay. Second component, you have to have a Docker, which we have sessions with. But here in the beauty of the Kubernetes, like you can have a multiple other container technologies also. It can be Rocket, it can be Containerd, it can be Cryo, and many other things. Docker is one of the preferred one. And the networking problem solved by kubeproxy. This is a third software which has to be running in the worker node, and this only solve the problem of load balancing issues and port forwarding issues of the pod containers and so on. So this is the third software has to be there in the each worker node. Okay, so look at this here. This is the overall architecture. You talk to API server. You have etcd, which is a so the storage controller manager and scheduler. Look at this here in worker node. You have a kubeproxy, IP tables, kubelet, and Docker. Below is worker nodes. So kubeproxy talk to API server for IP allocations and all. Kubelet talk to API server for the getting the request. Anything which happens with the kubeproxy update the IP tables and then so on. Are you comfortable with the architecture, all of you?
Yes.
Okay. So now this is something which we have architecture. Now the question is how do we configure the clusters? So remember that you have to set up a clusters master server and worker node and then workstation kubelet. Remember this image all the time. This image. So you have to set up a first master node, then worker node and workstation. All these component you can set up in the one node also. That's called minikube. Okay. For learning purpose, you can do the minikube. I have few recordings available and tutorials available. You can try that out in the LMS. But today I'll teach you some little bit more better options than minikube. Okay. So first let's have a machine. So one for master, one for worker. So let's go to AWS because that's where we get the machine faster. So I'll just start it on this one. Stop. Okay. Now I'll create two machines. And this demo you have to look at it a little bit carefully. So create. I'll go for Ubuntu. I'll go for 20. Okay. And now go for speed of the trading. I'll go for 2 T2 large. Okay. And key pair I'm going to use it. Let me create K8. It's there already. Kubernetesfundamental and ppk file I need it and done. And then allow the traffic, all this thing. 30 GB hard disk for good for the demo and so on. And two machines I need it for the same configuration and done. So you can do in the laptop also, but right now I'm doing in cloud because I don't want to struggle and my demo to be spoiled because of RAM issue, CPU issue, this, that, and all. You can do at your comfort level. So now this is the two machines I got it. Now this one machine I'll make it a master. So I'll just name it here master, and then other machine, so I'll make it worker. Done. So now first thing I will set up a master. So let's log into the master first. Go to putty and accept. Username is Ubuntu. Remember 20 version I have configured because I have a script for that. Let me improve the view so you can see it better. Are you able to see my screen, right? All of you? Hello? Hello, I'm
Yes.
audible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now what I'll do, I'll become a root because I have a bad habit, you know that. So sudo and don't use it. Now this is a master. How do we set up a master? So I have every commands scripted for you. What you need to do, go to here and search for Kubernetes Ubuntu. Okay. And here you see that here, this one, Kubernetes cluster setup, master and worker in Ubuntu 24. Okay. So here, this one, you can open up. So this version, which is to 23.6 for time being is okay. That's not to worry about it. I think latest version is 2.5, I guess. That's okay. Now every script what I wanted you to run it, it's there in this repository. It's a shell script. So if you want to read one line by line, you can go ahead with it. It's a good practice. You have to practice it if you want to become a pro. Now this repository here, cluster setup, and go to the latest. And now guys, here this script will set up a master. All the software will be stored here. This script will set up a worker components. Okay. How we connect the worker to master, I'll tell you during the session. Now you'll say, Rajesh, I want to learn step by step. So go through, open this file, spend almost half day or one day and become a pro. Now, why you need to become a pro? If you're preparing to become an administrator in Kubernetes, you have to become a pro. There's no other way. If you're preparing to become a user, then you don't need to look at this file. It's up to you. So this is the stuff. So now what I'll do, chmod 755 and done, and just blindly run this. This will set up in Ubuntu 20 the 1.23.6 version. If you can modify the script, you can update the other stuff also, but this okay for time being. And this will
Rajesh, how about
install
you downloaded that the Kubernetes one, the previous step,
which one?
the Kubernetes one you downloaded, you took it from the DevOps school, the command you
This is
download.
the registry actually.
Okay,
This is the registry. This
okay.
is the repository and the GitHub that is there. So guys, it will do hell lot of things. Okay, it's not like you just run one script. If you should, if you're a little bit serious to become a right administrator and if you're preparing for certification, you should go line by line and understand the logic. Okay, manually also you can set it up, but this script will help you to get it done each and every steps. And I have used with 8 GB RAM. Okay, so again, if you're trying for the 4 GB and all, you have to change some configuration system, systerial and stuff like that. So VM virtual memory space also you have to change. So I'll ask you to go for 8 GB RAM only. Why? Because why to waste energy to run the application in the lower memory and struggle for a lot and spending a lot of time, because in the production you'll have a 200 300 MB GB RAM actually, so you'll not come across this kind of issues. Minikube also you must try if you are only trying in the Windows machine. That's easy to do that. So guys, I did it. I mean, the cluster is set up done. Now guys, here after the end of it, this one you need to copy it. Okay, this is this command for the worker to add in the cluster. So this command has to run in the from the worker. Here you have a token, this will be expired in 24 hours. So if it is not working, you have to create it, okay, again. So that is the stuff. So remember that this command has to work from the run from the worker. So that's all. Now guys, one more thing. I said we are setting up the master, but you know what? The worker workstation, which is this one, kubectl, also has been set up in the same master. Okay. So you'll say, Rajesh, how it has been set up? So little bit go up and read this message, and then read this only selected message. You will understand that. I'll be paused for the few seconds. Read it and understand it. It's all simple code which you have. Just I'll come back.
Hello.
So yeah, he'll return in some time, I guess.
Okay, so guys, understood this? So what is happening? I'll tell you. Kubelet, which is here, they read the configuration file from here, and in this configuration file, you have a complete details of the cluster. If you look at it during the demo time, lab time, you will see that here you have all the configuration file, which is of the API server. Certificates are there, users are there, address is there, and all stuff like that. Okay, so this is something which you have it. Understood, guys, all of you? So if you do this one in your laptop, so in this case CP is there, but in your case you have to do SCP if it is outside of the cluster, outside of the master machine. Understood, all of you? Hello?
Yeah.
So this server, this server I can use as a workstation also. Okay, in fact you can make it as a worker also, but just for the displaying purpose I am keeping the worker some other server. So kubectl get nodes, if I do, see that this command kubectl command you can fire only from the workstation, only from the workstation. Okay, so it is configured, and you want to see the configuration, so the same file, the one which I showed you just now, this one. So there's one command for that. You can manually also look at the command, but that will be very large file. Okay, so it's easy to see using this command. See that this is the one. This all certificate and files has been edited and omitted and all. This is the API server. This is the same IP address for this machine actually. Here. Okay, so workstation is set up. Now, if I run this command from the workstation get nodes, I have a master which is ready and which is a called control panel or row master also. The version is 1.2, 1.236. Now I need to set up a worker. So I think you know that. So let me do it in front of you. So go to the worker. Same process. The only script will change. New and credential kubernetes.ppk accept change setting color appearance bold apply. Okay, what was the username? Ubuntu, right? Yeah, and you know everything I do as a root. So clear the screen, sudo -s, and now you know that what I'm going to do. So here and done and done. cd cluster setup, latest, and worker chmod 755. All the components which is required to for worker, this script will do the stuff. I would insist you to read line by line offline to understand the script. Your logic will be built. You'll be having more confident troubleshooting in the cluster. I run the worker, right? Correct, no? I forgot actually. Did I run the master or worker?
No, no, you did worker.
Wonderful, yeah. That is what I wanted. So I just you have to run this worker script in every worker 4, 5, 10, 20, 200. There's a how to automate this stuff. Ansible you have learned just now. I taught you how to run that multiple machine the worker script. You know that there is one bash module is there which you can use it for this work.
Do you need to install workstation after this?
Workstation I did it. No, that's what I explaining it to you.
Master you
Workstation
did.
I did in the master only. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, done. So guys, here worker is setup is completed. A lot of things has done. Now this command which we have to run in the master to get that command, but it's not expired, so still I can use this command. This I said no, this token will be expired in 24 hours. So after that, if it is expired, you can run this command to regenerate in the master. Remember, on master. Okay, so copy and run this. So now before running it, let me tell you here the nodes. I have only one. You see that I'm running it. It's happening. Let's happen. In the cloud, everything is happening fast. But if you do in the local, the same activity which I did in 10 minutes probably take 20 to 30 minutes because of mirrors, download, this, that, and all kind of things. Why is taking time? I'm not expecting this to take time. Just wait for it. Usually it should have happened, but why is taking time? Okay, I don't have a patience. Cancel this. Kubeadm. I'm deleting the whatever the configurations happen using kubeadm reset command. Okay. Yes, I want to delete and clear the screen. Rerun this. Not rerun this code. Sometimes mirrors get stuck because of that. So rerun is faster. It will be faster. It's taking time. Why? Okay, so this command will be successful, should be successful, and then here you get it 2 nodes. You'll have to wait for few seconds after that end of this script. It's not running. Pre-flight check is doing something. So you'll have to wait for it. Okay, so any questions so far, all of you?
Where do we have this command commands for the Kubernetes?
This all this, you just go through the recording. You will, I'll keep using that and you can have that
Okay,
reference. But if you want commands, thousands of commands are there. You don't get lost in that. It will be just waste of time. See, don't try my techniques for learning any tools, new tools. Don't try to learn everything. Just uh, what is this, why this, how to install, how to configure, how to use it, and then advanced scenarios.
okay,
Else, if you keep getting into thinking of completing the learning, this whole lifetime will not, will be less actually.
okay. Thanks.
This is somewhere stuck. So what I can do, let it happen. I don't uh, interrupt right now. I try to reset it and then rerun it, but it is not coming in with any error. So what I'll do now, I can convert, in fact, this machine itself as a worker. How do we do that? So I'll just go to the Google and search, uh, ask a Google, uh, make master Kubernetes first. Make master, no, make master node suitable, and a lot of things you'll get it. These commands and all, you can run it. In fact, masters can deploy the pod. This command, if you run it, you have to change the name of the role. I mean node and all stuff like that. So I'm just waiting. Why it's taking time? Hmm. Yeah. Meanwhile, let me confirm other components. So these are the components which I'm going to share with you. So API server, let me show you. So this is running in the as a pod actually. So kubectl. So kubectl get pods hyphen a for all. And look at this, all these pods which you are running. So out of which you see that API server, which is here, cluster stored etcd, which is here. These are all the pod running. Okay. Container, inside the pod you have a container, the controller which is you have here, and scheduler which is you have here, and this is a proxy for networking, and these are the add-ons actually for the discovery services. This is the networking pods. So these all are applications running in the same master cluster. Worker cluster, let me see what is there. Mm, check if any problem is there or not. Did I hit the same box? Worker 250, this correct box. Uname, okay, it should be okay. Let me do it one more time. So kubectl, not kubeadm reset means delete everything, and yes, and here Rerun this command. Command is correct. I just copy paste. I can go to the Google. You can also try to search for it. Google kubeadm join this one. So probably something will come. Same environment. For me, it was 22 actually. And these are the manual commands which I put it in a script. So commands which I run on slave. This is apply flannel. Uh, these all are manual commands. I don't think so. There's a meaningful actually. Okay, firewall could be region. Yes. So guys, firewall could be region. That's true. See, I did not notice actually that, to be honest. So go to the firewall. That's true. Here 6443. Okay. So see that mistake can come from any time actually. Did you understand that, all of you? So the port number which we have is 6443, which is not open here. Understood? So keep in mind actually. So you can disable the OS level firewall also, and I'm using cloud level firewall. So I'll just go blindly because I don't want to complicate your mind right now. Opening up everything. This is very dangerous, but I'm doing for learning purpose. Understood, all of you? And now you see, started. Understood, all of you?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, Raj, how do we know that this port is blocked? But do we need to do any mandatory check before we running these commands?
There is a checklist are there actually, but I would suggest checklist before that. Get frustrated. Why I'm wishing for you to your frustration, and the reason is the more you get frustrated, each and every types of troubleshooting skills you will learn, like log files check, port check, process check, CPU check, hard disk check, RAM check, network check, policy check, some OS issues check. So you will have a habit of that actually. So that habit is itself is a DevOps engineering. Okay.
Sure.
So you can have a checklist of it, that you can do it, but if you get experience, no, it'll be easy for you. Okay, so now this is done. Can I go back to the master and do the get notes? I'm running in the not mastered. I'm running as a workstation. Remember, and you have a two worker. So if you want to add a more worker, same step you need to repeat it and then get it. So now what we have done, we understood what is Kubernetes, why we need Kubernetes, how Kubernetes works, that means architecture of master and worker and workstation. And then finally, we configure the clusters. Are you okay with all this thing, all of you?
Okay, if we go with the minikube, like, so we have to follow these steps.
No, 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 no. Minikube is a VM. So I'll share the documents with you. Just follow as it is. I recently updated a minikube. So minikube, and here these are the commands for minikube. Tunnel explained what is minikube and basic workflow, and here it is. So recently I updated. Just follow this. So what you have to do, first install the minikube from the as per your operating system. So here these are the prerequisite. Download the minikube from here, and if you want to download through the PowerShell command here, and this my what do you say works, I mean screenshot of my machine actually. So I typically keep it in the C drive minikube, and this is the minikube latest version. I think it's a 3-4 months older version. And this command, you want to stop it, delete it. Why I'm asking you to run this command? Because some people know by mistake they have deployed the minikube unknowingly, and this command will do everything. So this command will start the VM virtual machine, one virtual machine. So that's the reason you need a one hypervisor here. So I'll suggest you are using VirtualBox. That's okay. Okay. So this command will create one VirtualBox with 8 GB RAM, 6 CPU. The driver is VirtualBox. For my laptop, this is required actually. Not this laptop, another laptop. So it's not required for you. Just check the error. If you get it, then you can do that. And after that, check the minikube status, and then this command which just now I run it. So this command will do everything for your cluster setup. In one VM, everything will be done. All the component of the master, all the component of worker, and all. Understood, all of you?
Yeah, okay.
Rajesh, I missed one part. Like, why are we using minikube?
So minikube is a kind of VM. This command will create one VM with a virtual box VM, and that VM will have all the component of master, all the component of worker, so you can use in your laptop without complicating process of the one which you followed. There is
The
a
one which
there is a there is a many way to set up a cluster. More than 40 methods are there, more than that. So minikube is a developer method to create a cluster.
this is an alternative way you did in the cloud, right? Just now we did the
Yeah,
cloud.
I did it in the cloud because I want it to work for the real time. But minikube developers use it for quickly create a cluster in their own desktop and start using it. Only one VM, you have all the components.
Okay.
But Rajesh, you have create and like you have run the script, but in Minikube we don't need to run a script, right?
No, that's what I said. This command will do everything for you.
Okay, so at the end, we have to follow your steps, right, for the create the cluster.
Yes, follow my previous step, and if you want to try this one also, you try in your laptop.
Okay, so for minikube, we can just follow for learning purpose only.
It's just for development purpose. For example,
Okay,
I want to run it quickly, all the cluster just for running my pod and all. Development team, they use it minikube.
okay, got it.
Okay, guys.
If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest.
Thanks for watching.